Hey guys, how are you? What's up? So street food is really good and it's delicious, but you never know what you're gonna get. And it's really cheap too. So that's really like a really good positive thing with street food. It's cheap, it's delicious, but you never know what you're gonna get. You know, you don't really know where that food came from or like who served it and who's cooking it and where it's from and what's in it, especially if you're in other countries where you're like not familiar with the street food that's happening in your own country on your own like street fairs in your areas where you have street food. But I know there's lots of street food all over the city, and there's these trucks and there's all kinds of like these carts and whatever else. And even in other countries and like everywhere you go, there's like these, street fairs and street happenings, and they all have these different street foods. While I love to like try out new street foods and everything, but I really never know like what I'm gonna get, what exactly, where's the food come from. You know, when you're in a restaurant, you kind of have those ratings on the front of the restaurant where it's like an A or a B or a C or whatever it is. And like how clean the food is in the restaurant. If it's got an A on it, it means the food is really clean. And they went in there and they looked around and they said, yeah, food's good, food's clean, everything's fine. You guys are doing really good. But with food, with street food, you really don't know what you're gonna get. So it's really weird because a lot of street food is really good. I've had street food in the past and it's really delicious sometimes. And it's usually actually really good, but for some reason, and it's also cheap too. So that's really what's great about street food. For a few dollars, you can get a whole plate of like meats and rices and all kinds of stuff. And it's usually good. And sometimes it's curry and it's usually really, really good. And the only thing is I've seen like news reports about the conditions of the food before it was prepared and how it was no refrigeration and stuff like that. So that's just why, like, wherever I go, whenever I'm in like any country, like I really kind of like stay away from the street food for some reason. Like I'm just like thinking there's always the chance that there's something wrong with the food, you know. But the thing is about that is that I know that food is probably delicious, and I'm probably missing out by like not eating that street food. So that's the thing. I haven't seen recently, and the thing is they don't really have those ratings anymore. They don't have ratings for street food. You know, they don't have like these like ratings on the truck going TripAdvisor says this truck makes, A quality, street food. They don't have that. They should seriously like have a rating system where street food gets rated, but they don't have that. And what's amazing is that like I used to eat that a lot. I used to eat it a lot. Like I would eat it all the time because I just found that it was like back in the day when we were in school and everything, we were like really happy to get like like a whole plate of food for like $2. It was really awesome, and all the time it really tasted very, very good, and it was like a really legitimate thing to eat, and it was way less expensive than if you went to a restaurant and you'd have to pay like $10 and more just for like basically the same thing. So we would just do that like for lunch. We would just go out and there'd be like street food all over the street, especially if you're in the city. We were in the city, so street food all over the street, all kinds of different food, delicious stuff. For $2, you can get a whole lunch, and everything was so good. But thing is, after that, I've heard these stories that like sometimes the street food isn't good in certain parts, and I've never actually like had like a bad experience with street food, but just all of the stories of people saying, oh, the street food, don't eat the street food in this country or in that country. Like, so I would love to go like eat the street food in like Mexico, or the street food in like, East Asia or whatever it is, because I know they have really good street food there. And the street food in certain places like in Camden and London, there's all street food over there. There's beautiful amounts of street food. It's really cheap and it looks good. It smells really good. And sometimes you would have like in my city, they would have like street fairs, and you would have all different kinds of street food, and that's the thing about like the street fairs and stuff like that, where you would just walk down and they would just be cooking it right in front of you, and you're always thinking, did they clean it right? Did they get it right? It's like it's such a like lore. It's such it looks so good, it smells so good, but you don't really know if it's good to eat. And that's the thing about the street food so much, that it's like you really don't know how it is and if it's good to eat, even though it's delicious. And whenever I have it, it's always like really, really, really good. It's really, really delicious. Like in any city you go to, it's just delicious, and you get like you really, really get like a lot from it, whether you're in anywhere, whether you're in like in European cities where it's basically the street foods are like meats and maybe like different kinds of like basically it's meats and like breads and stuff like that. And like I know like in East Asia there was all kinds of street food like scorpion and whatever else, snake. They would just have totally different street foods. When you're traveling or when you're just in your own city, the street foods can be so much better than just as good as or even better than the restaurant foods. It's just that, the restaurant foods just feel safer. They're probably not. I mean, it's probably just as much of a risk eating at a restaurant as it is eating from a street vendor. But for some reason, I'm just like thinking, and I have heard of people like not like eating, finding street food that wasn't good and stuff like that. So that's the thing. It's just that like I know that they sometimes have like these stories on TV and whatever about street food not being that great. So, but street food is delicious, and every time I see it, I really want some. But at the same time, I'm not sure if it's like good to eat. And I mean, it looks okay for the vendors and stuff. They look like they're having a good time making it. They probably eating it. But who knows? Like, I still don't know if it's like good to eat. I never really know. And I've seen so much great street food, like anywhere you go, basically major cities, whenever you're in a major city, you're going to see like street vendors all over the place. It's just, it looks so good, and it usually tastes really, really good. But at the same time, you're like, it's cheap. So, is it still good? Why is it like the $3, food or lunch that you get at the street place? Why is it a $3? And then the restaurant has the same thing for like $15. And you're like, well, is that better? The $3 one better than the $15 one? So that's the thing. And you're just not sure. It's like, you're really not sure. The people that cook it, are they chefs? Do they know what they're doing? Are they just like hired to just like with no training, like basically go, okay, just put that on the grill, flip it over after a minute, and then serve it in this bun, And, do they really know what they're doing? Because usually you think in a restaurant, there's a chef there and everything, there's somebody actually that knows what they're doing, how to prepare the food, how to cook the food, how to do it safely, how to do it, so it's delicious and everything. And you're really not sure about like if there's an event going on or a street fair. It is always like really good street food, and a lot of people are eating it, but at the same time, you don't know where it came from, you don't know how it was prepared and stuff like that. It usually tastes good. I haven't found street food that actually doesn't taste really good, but who knows? And it's also like you don't know what they put in there. Like you don't know if it's like what exactly what the ingredients were. Is everything all natural, or do they put a bunch of artificial stuff in there and stuff like that to make it taste good? Sometimes they'll put like that powder that's kind of artificial. That just makes everything taste really, really good. So I don't know if you guys have ever been to like any countries and whatever. I know in London there's an area in Camden Town where it's just street food, and it's really weird because when you walk down the street, people are just like, hey, they're just like shout out at you going, hey, come try the food, hey, buy the food. And you can't really walk down the street without somebody calling you to eat their food and like buy their food. And it looks really good, it's real cheap, but and like there's restaurants there and they'll charge you like over £10 for like a small lunch, where the street food it's like £2.50 or £3, and you get a full lunch with meats and rices and breads and all kinds of stuff that they put in there, but at the same time you're like, I don't know, I don't know where this has been, like I'm not sure where these pop-up little vendors came from, where the food was. Like a restaurant is a restaurant, that they're there, they have to take responsibility for their food. But like a vendor that's just out there that day, could just be out there that day and doesn't really care what they're serving. So, yeah, so I don't know. It's sort of like you have the choice of trying the food, seeing, it's probably good. You probably saved a bunch of money, but you're not really sure if you should have eaten it, like how, you're not really sure of what was in it, or should you have eaten it or not, or anything like that. So that's the thing about it. I don't know if you guys, what you guys think of street food. You ever had street food before? You probably have had street food. What did you think of it? Do you usually like eat street food, or do you just like go to restaurants and stay away from street foods? Let me know in the comments, and let me know if you guys like this video, and check out my other videos. And please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video. Take care and have a great day. Yay.